Hey everyone, this is Amy Hartline from the Dalton Whitfield Solid Waste Authority. I am here at the Recycling Center, or the Materials Recovery Facility. We sometimes just call it the MRF. I'm going to show you kind of the outside portion of it first, and then we'll head inside, and then we'll head into the actual building part of it. So I'm going to flip you around here so we can talk about each of those compartments. These right here are the #1 plastic. So that's going to be like your soda bottles, like the one I've got rolling down right here. So this right here is our soda bottle, right? It's #1 PET plastic. This gets used to make carpet. And we are in Dalton, so we're the carpet capital of the world. We make a ton of carpet. We actually recycle in Northwest Georgia 1/3 of all of the PET bottles produced in America every year. This is our #2 plastic. So our HDPE plastics, we get all of our clear milk jugs. So we sort this into 2 different piles. #2s get sorted in 2 different piles. We've got our natural or our clear right there. We sort those out because we actually sell a little more if they're clear. And then we've got our colorful ones over here that kind of look like sprinkles. These are both used to make really durable plastics. So we might use them for like playground equipment or benches or decks. Things you really want to be durable and strong. They're great for that. Now, we only accept bottles and jugs. Later on, I'm going to show you our baler. The reason we only take the bottles and jugs and we don't just take all plastics of that number has to do with our baler process and the injection versus blow mold process of creating different plastics. We've got our glass. We only accept glass in our convenience center. So if you want to recycle glass, you have to take it to a convenience center and then sort it by color. So right here, you're seeing our clear glass. These are fun because these get turned into hot sauce bottles. This right here is our brown glass. These get turned into beer bottles and perfume bottles. And this right here is our green glass. That gets used for fiberglass. So that's why it's important to sort it by color, and we only take bottles in jars. And these awesome rectangles right here are our bales. So I'm gonna flip back around so you can kind of get a feel for how big they are. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'll try to spread it a little bit so you can kind of see, but they're really quite big. They weigh about 1,400 pounds. So we put a ton of plastic into these. And then this is a couple of loads right here. When we have our loads full, we'll call our company that we sell them to. They'll come and pick it up, and that's when it actually goes through the process of being recycled into something else. Later on, I'm going to go and show you some more details about how that actually happens. But for now, let's head inside and check out our baler and some of the paper and cardboard recycling. So one thing unique about our materials recovery facility here is they actually have the ability to sort our carpet, and we test it for recycling. And we also recycle our carpet padding. That's actually a little easier to recycle than just straight carpet. You'll see our big pile from wish cycling. So wish cycling is when you try to recycle something and it can't actually be recycled. Remember when I talked about the plastics, we only take bottles and jugs. So that's why you're gonna see like these plastic wraps here. That's why you're gonna see these takeout containers and these clamshells. It's because those things can't actually be recycled. When you see things like cardboard that you know can be recycled, that's sorted out into there because it means somebody put in food or liquid in there that shouldn't be, which means it's now not recyclable. But this right here is our cardboard. We've been seeing a lot of it, especially lately, because we've got all the online shipping. So this is our baler, kind of starts behind the wish cycling pile right here. So all the things that are going to get recycled, we sort by type. So that's why you see a little bit of cardboard already starting there. They have it ready to go tomorrow. So they sorted the cardboard on that line, kind of looks like an escalator. And then it's going to take all the way up. That spot right behind the yellow ladder there is kind of the brains of the baler. We can just program it and then step away. Somebody doesn't have to be standing up there the whole time. When we bought this baler in 2001, it cost about $400,000. A couple years ago, it broke, and we tried to figure out how much it would cost to just get a completely new one, and it was about $1 million. So the brains in this one are actually fairly new because we decided just to replace it for about $50,000 instead of just buying a whole new one for $1 million. Okay, so basically up there's the top where we saw on the other end. It's going to come through here, and then it's going to get all squished together basically with 2 big steel plates. And then it's going to come out here in these big rectangles, the bales, and it's going to get wrapped in that metal wire. So you can kind of see right there. And then it's pretty much all done. Then we just set it aside until it's time to sell it. And then the trucks will pull up in these doors right here, and we'll load them up, and then we'll send it off to whoever we're selling it to. All right, so we are inside now. I'm going to show you all of those things that I talked about outside, what they actually get turned into. So we're going to start off with our paper. So what really happens with paper is they will shred it up. So it kind of looks like this. Okay, and they put it in a big vat full of chemicals. Kind of looks like oatmeal, but it smells really bad. So they'll mix that all together, get all of the kind of ink out of it and clean it up. And then they'll turn it into these huge paper rolls, and they'll dry it and flatten it. And then it gets turned into all of these other things. So it might get turned into a book cover. What's fascinating about this is we don't make the pages, we just make the cover. So inside is completely blank. And so once they make the cover, they'll send it off to the printing press, and they'll actually print the papers from there. It could get turned into a cereal box. It could get turned into a Reese's Pieces box, one of my favorites. If you eat at Subway or Wendy's here, the Subway or Wendy's in Whitfield County actually uses our recycled paper to make their napkins. So if you go to Subway or Wendy's and you see on the back, it's got a little recycling symbol on there. That doesn't mean that the napkin itself is recyclable, right? We don't want your used napkins. We don't want your used tissues, but it means that the napkin was made from recycled materials. And the Subway and Wendy's napkins are actually made from your recycled materials. And then I wanted to show you too, right here, if you take that paper and you mix it with just a little bit of plastic, you can turn it into a lot more plastic. Now this is gonna make your thin plastics, but there's still a lot of uses for thin plastic, so you can still use it for a lot. All right, so moving on, we've got our glass. Remember, we only take green, clear, and brown, and then they will get cut up into these little pieces of coal. These have actually been in this bag for over a decade now, and they haven't broken through the bag. So you can see they're not sharp pieces. They're actually really dull, but they'll get cut into those pieces, and then they'll get melted into the different molds and shapes that they're going to be turned into. Then we've got aluminum. So it gets crushed, and then they take all of the coating and the shininess off. Then they'll turn it into basically big blocks of aluminum. They call it an ingot. Then they'll flatten it out. After they flatten it, they'll turn it into what they call an aluminum cup, but we call it a baby can. Okay, so it looks like this. And then they'll just stretch it out and turn it into a full can. Fill up the inside of it here, and then they'll just pop that top on. Okay, and then it's all ready to go. Again, that only takes 3 months to recycle aluminum. So all of our aluminum cans get turned back into aluminum cans. You could drink out of the same can multiple times in a year, so it's pretty refreshing. It does get cleaned. Everything that gets recycled gets cleaned very, very well. If you talk to some people, they used to not be able to recycle bottle caps. So you may hear somebody telling you to take your bottle cap off, but you do not have to do that here. The way we handle that is the person we send it to, after their plastic's all shredded up, they'll basically put it in a big tub of water, and it's just water. There's no special chemicals or anything in it. And then the bottom part of the bottle, the PET flakes, are going to fall to the bottom or sink to the bottom. And then the cap and the label are going to float to the top. You can still kind of tell by the colors, okay? So the bottom part is what gets turned into that carpet that I talked about, and the top gets turned into toothbrush handles and yogurt cups. So that's kind of a way that we can still recycle the whole part of the bottle with kind of a neat, easy process just based on the density of the different materials of the bottle. Okay, so here's an example of a kind of carpet that could be made from plastic bottles. It's crazy to think how different it can get to look. We actually have this here that shows the process a little bit. It's got the PET flakes right there. And then after they sort out the flakes from that process that I talked about, they take out this, they basically extrude it, and they'll turn it into that cotton fiber. Sometimes it'll stay like that. So it'll go into like a ski jacket, or they'll turn it into the fluff in a pillow or a stuffed animal. But other times, it'll get turned into that carpet. Next, we have our number 2 plastic. So only number 1, or the PET, is turned into carpet, but number 2 gets turned into things like our toys, or it could be like a clipboard, or it could be, that playground equipment or a deck that I talked about. Okay, and your number 2, remember, that's going to be like your milk jugs like this, or your laundry detergent. Also take tires for recycling. Now, we turned into playground mulch, or if you've ever stepped on a football or soccer field, you have that black stuff on your shoes, that is from your recycled tires too. So there's still a lot of good uses for it. A kind of reminder that things that, we think of as useless, like trash, can actually have a use if we take care of them properly. So thank you all for joining me today. I hope you were able to learn a lot. So thank you all again, and I hope you have an awesome day.